right, cool. So I wanted to talk about the Surehand platform, basically. So as far as I understand, it's a platform for students to upload their resumes and create a profile, which employers can then look for and potentially hire you in simple terms, right? There's a lot more to it, but that's basically what Surehand is. Is that right?
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head, and thanks for having me on today.
Of course.
Doing with Surehand is, for folks that are just graduating and looking to enter the industry, or more experienced NDT techs or inspectors. We're really providing a better way for, as you say, employers to find talent and to make those inspectors, regardless of where they are in their careers, more visible to those employers, right? So we're really focused on making that easier for both sides of that ecosystem.
Got it. Now, is this platform only for NDT?
It's a great question. Our initial focus is on industrial inspection, so NDT, NDE, welding inspection, coating inspection, but we're staying very focused on the industrial inspection trades at the moment. I think there's certainly opportunity to expand beyond that, but we really want to focus on NDT and get it right, frankly, for that industry first before thinking about other opportunities.
Got it. So, how is this different than employers going on Indeed and looking at resumes?
Yeah, I think the biggest difference for us is one of the challenges that we're focused on solving is, if you look at a lot of the job sites that are out there, whether they're industry specific or some of the larger, more generic job sites like Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, and others, they're built around this construct of, on one side you have an employer with a job posting, on the other side of the equation you have potential candidates with resumes, and that whole process is actually very inefficient. A lot of the research we did when we were starting up this business really centered on a lot of the pain and friction associated with how that worked. So as a simple example, that model is: employer posts a job posting on site XYZ, they get hundreds of applications from folks interested in that opportunity, and let's say 5%, 10% are even qualified to do that work. And there's a lot of time and inefficiency really on both sides of that equation that comes into play there. And so no one's really challenged that construct. And I think, moreover, it was one that really grew out of white collar professions, right? It really wasn't built from the ground up to serve the industrial trades. So NDT, industrial inspection, and even the broader skilled industrial trades.
So, I know some of these platforms also let you upload the resumes and have it on file, or some of the employers do that too. Like, just send us a resume and we'll keep it
Sure.
in our file, and we'll keep you we'll let you know. And as far as my as far as my experience is concerned, no employer has ever gotten back to me 2 years later saying, hey, we had your resume on file and thanks for keeping it on file, we want to hire you. Nobody ever said that. But um, is there like people from Surehand team working on getting companies to hire the people, job seekers on Surehand, or is it a platform only and there's no mediator trying to match the employers with the, like, is it like a recruiting firm or is it just a platform?
Yeah, so it's a great question. Basically, we are, as a platform company, using technology to ultimately take the place of third-party or outside recruiting firms. Now, that said, we are building up a candidate success team here to help job seekers really get the most out of Surehand as they use the platform to be discovered for work, right? Because I think that's one of the biggest differences. Is Surehand is really we're building it out to be the source of truth for inspectors or job seekers' professional information. essentially a resume in the cloud, if you will. So at that point, whether they're actively seeking work at the moment or not, they're visible to companies or employers that are looking for their specific skill sets. And by doing that, we're sort of flipping the script so that instead of you as a job seeker have to, constantly search on job boards, submit applications and resumes into the black hole that you just articulated, where you'll apply for a job and a resume might sit in some repository and you're never responded to, and that's inefficient for the job seeker. So our model is, well, let's build this repository of industry specialized and highly structured professional information, verify key aspects of those profiles like industry certification, technical training, and ultimately work experience, so that it really becomes your single source of truth or resume as a trade professional. And we're building out tools that, for example, will let you publish a PDF version of that profile if you are applying for a job where companies require you to submit an actual resume file. We're building those capabilities into Surehand as we speak, so that they can still leverage that information in those more traditional ways. Same holds true for applicant tracking systems, right? So a lot of the larger companies will use applicant tracking systems where you have to upload a specific format of your resume for it to actually work well. And one of the things that's on our roadmap as well is to be able to let our Surehand job seeker users export an ATS or applicant tracking system friendly profile that can stand or serve as their resume. So really this whole idea of having a bunch of resume files on your laptop that you have to go keep updated, that you have to, upload to these variety of platforms when you're looking for work or applying for work, we want to make that much easier and just let that job seeker inspector submit it directly from Surehand.
I see. So, assuming I'm a company and I'm looking to hire someone, um, um, so what you're saying is, what I'm understanding is, I don't have to go through people's resumes to look for their skills. I can actually search for a skill, and all the people with that skill will populate my search result. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I mean, that's it in a nutshell. I mean, basically what we're doing is three things that are different about Surehand or better are for the industries that we serve, we're going very deep on the information and the profiles we capture, right? So I already talked about, certification, work history, and training, but in NDT and inspections, about getting into the methods, the techniques, the equipment used, the application. There's a lot of
Yes.
data that those generic sites just don't capture, right?
Right.
Not in a way that's frankly very usable from a search standpoint. The other thing we're doing is we're actually normalizing all those profiles. We've looked at hundreds and hundreds of resumes of NDT technicians and inspectors, and as you can imagine, the quality and consistency of that information it varies widely. And so the challenge there as an employer, you're now trying to compare 100 applicants against one another, let's say, and it's not apples to apples. So again, it adds a lot of friction into that process for employers who are screening through resumes where 95% of those that apply self-selected, that felt like, yeah, I might be able to do this job, but they weren't qualified to do it. So what we're trying to do is make it so that as an employer, you go into Surehand, you enter the very specific search criteria. What location, what search do they need to hold? What methods are they experienced in? Do that search. And as an employer, you'll get the short list of folks that are qualified for the open position or project you have. And you get that in a matter of minutes, not days, weeks, months, right? So we're trying to eliminate a lot of the inefficiency in that talent sourcing process.
So, what exactly is normalizing? What do you mean by
So when
normalize?
I say normalizing, it's just a fancy word for really standardizing and structuring the data, so that when I look at Inspector Joe versus Inspector Jane versus Inspector Jim, what I see in front of me on the screen allows me to very easily compare those attributes, one against the other against the next. And if you're looking at three, and I'm using a very small example, but imagine now you're looking at 100 different resumes of folks that have applied. It takes a significant amount of time and energy to go through and screen those resumes.
So, is there going to be like a ranking system?
Yeah, so it works very much. Our search algorithm works very much like um, Google in the sense that, the more complete an inspector's profile is in our system,
It's gonna rank
and
higher.
the more information in that profile that we were able to independently verify. So, for example, if in your profile you say you hold a cert from ASNT or NACE or CGSB in Canada, our team will go independently verify that with those organizations, and mark that in your profile as checked. So an employer looking at your profile knows, oh, they don't need to go look that up with that certifying body because Surehand has already done that for them. So essentially, the more complete and verified your profile is, and the relevance of your profile to those search requirements or what the employer is looking for, that will determine how high up you rank in that search results page.
Gotcha. So you're gonna verify if all the are you gonna verify the certificates are valid, or also the experience and everything?
So our goal is to do all three. We're focused on certification
Okay.
and certificates initially, and training. So we've got industries partnerships we've signed already with folks like the Ocean Corp, AINDT, AATA out of LA, as you know those guys.
Yeah.
And we're probably bringing on average one a week moving forward, so that we have those relationships to, one, introduce Surehand to their graduates and alumni, but they become a conduit for us to easily verify that if someone said that they went through, John Stewart's apprenticeship program at AATA, we can work with those guys to, verify that and validate it.
Gotcha. Perfect. Um, so, are companies still going to post jobs online, or is it going to be purely, or is it okay for companies to directly go on Surehand platform and look for a candidate? Like,
So
isn't it legally, like, are they bound to post a job online?
so our model is essentially, they're in the same way that they would use third-party recruiters to go out and source talent directly. Um, we're using the technology to let employers do that without the overhead of a recruiting firm. So every company is going to vary, certainly by region and by corporate policy, in terms of, once they identify the candidates they want to engage or have apply for a job, they will likely run through whatever that company's existing hiring process or funnel is. Our job is simply to to essentially do two things: improve essentially the visibility of inspectors outside their current geography and the industry that they've worked in, because, as you know, a lot of the inspection skills can translate across industries, certainly across geography. And on the employer side, the same sort of holds true. We're giving them more access and reach um, in terms of finding people that they wouldn't have access to outside of their, personal or professional networks. So again, Surehand is all about connecting those dots. Once that hiring conversation starts within the app, at least at this point, that conversation moves into that employer's hiring funnel. However, it would happen today. So, if they'd have to go apply online or submit a resume or upload a resume to an applicant tracking system, again, those are tools we're building to make that sort of one click easy for the job seeker, but they're still going to probably move into that hiring funnel.
Got it. Okay. So, the other thing I heard last time we spoke was that we have the job seekers have the option to keep their names anonymous. Can you tell us a little
Yeah,
bit more about that?
yeah, absolutely. One of the things that occurred to us, one of the aha moments for us was, particularly in NDT and industrial inspection, there's a lot of sort of, certainly within turnarounds and call outs, or shutdown type work, these are folks that are looking for work a lot, right? And, and on the other side of the equation, you have the more sort of permanent positions and so on. But one of the things we wanted to make sure we were doing is creating a platform where job seekers or inspectors would create a profile, whether or not they were actively looking for work at the moment or not, right? So you think about it in terms of, it's really a global registry for industrial inspection. And so because of that, we wanted to make sure that we didn't put any job seekers or inspectors at risk where, they were perceived by their current employer as, oh, they're looking to jump or looking for work. We wanted to make sure that the inspectors always have control of their data and how that information is shared. So any personally identifiable information about an inspector in their profile, it's up to that inspector as to whether they want that visible when an employer searches or not. And one other interesting thing we learned is we heard from a lot of employers that they actually really like the idea of searching for talent based on skill sets, background, and experience without any sort of age, gender, any kind of bias that can be inferred by some of that personally identifiable information. So I think it's really win-win for both sides of the equation. And so again, there's two options. You can either make your profile anonymous, and then when an employer reaches out to you, it's up to you as the inspector whether you want to share that information. Gives you a little more control. The other thing we allow our inspector users to do is make their profile invisible to their current employer. So not only would you not see their first name, you wouldn't even see their profile at all.
Wow. So it's like creating a dating profile when you have a girlfriend and hiding it from your own girlfriend.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great way to put it. And it's funny, but we have described this as sort of Match.com for industrial inspection, right? Because it is trying to make it that easy
Yeah,
for work and workers to find one another. And again, as
it's
you said,
amazing.
there's it's a funny comparison, but it works, right?
Yeah.
So
That's amazing. I believe that, like what you said, it's gonna help a lot of the gender bias that I don't want to say it exists in this industry, but it sometimes is a factor. A lot of this, and I've talked to some people about this before. So I don't want to go into the details of that, but I believe that if people can just see the skill sets and the profile first before knowing who that person is or where that person comes from, I think it would be people would stand better chances to get noticed and to at least have secured an interview first. So I
yeah,
like it.
no, I couldn't agree more. I mean, one of the things that particularly programs like the one in AATA, where they're really working on helping underserved populations get into a great career track within non-destructive testing and inspection. I think it's certainly an honorable field. It's frankly one that is relatively invisible. If you ask 9 people, 10 people out on the street, you'd be lucky if one of them knew what non-destructive testing is.
Yeah,
And yet it's so pervasive in, the car I'm going to drive home later today, the plane I take to my next meeting, the bridges I drive over. I mean, it's everywhere. And so anyway, we're proud to be in the industry, and we're hoping we can really make a difference. And so far, we've been really well received by both employers, educators, the inspectors themselves. It's been a lot of fun so far.
awesome. So I'm a new student. I'm looking for a job, or maybe I'm experienced, but I'm trying to change my industry or job. How do I get started? What's my first step?
So it's really easy. Essentially, with Surehand.com, the first step is to create a free inspector account. And our model is such that we don't charge the inspectors or the job seeker side of our ecosystem anything. So it's free for inspectors. It's a great way for them to consolidate the professional information. And as a new grad, just getting started, coming out of a training program, trying to get that first trainee job or assistant job so they get the experience so they can gain or move up in terms of their levels depending on their methods. The first step is to create that free profile on surehand.com. And, it's one of those things where that then as they complete that profile, and even if they're putting in work experience that's not specific to non-destructive testing, they'll have the ability to go in and put their training. What methods were they trained in? How many hours of training did they receive in a given method? What equipment did they use? these things all sort of feed into our search algorithm so that employers looking for particular technicians, even the ones that are assistants or level ones, will become visible to those employers. So the very first step is to create that account. And as I said earlier, we're also building a team of candidate success managers who are there to essentially assist all of our inspectors who create profiles to make sure that their profiles are set up for success in Surehand, right? So it's essentially as best as it can possibly be. And I think the other key is as you as a new grad start to advance in your career, look to Surehand as, again, that single source of truth for your professional information, so that as you take on a new job, as you learn new skills, use new equipment, you're updating your profile over time.
Got it. Yeah. I tried to create a profile, and I just I didn't complete my profile. I just left it halfway. So I actually got a message from one of your candidate success. Is
Yep.
that what it is? Candidate success managers.
Yep.
Yeah, and he was like, "Hey, I'll help you complete your profile if you don't mind. Just give me 5 minutes of your time, and we'll just talk and set up your profile." That was pretty cool. I was like, I was impressed that somebody on your side is actually taking the efforts to talk to me and allow me to complete the profile, helping me find jobs. Um, is this only for US, or is it for Canada, Mexico, UK, Asia? What's your region?
Yeah, great question. So our initial focus is on the U.S. and Canada. We
Oh,
do
US
have
and Canada?
plans. Yep, and we do
Okay.
have plans to expand globally. But for the moment, we're very focused on getting this right and perfected in the U.S. and Canada before moving forward with that expansion. So it's
Okay.
obviously a path and opportunity for us. But again, we really want to take the time to get it right. Not just the technology, but the service level that you just described. And I'm glad you had that experience. That's why that team is in place, because we know that as inspectors, you guys are out in the field, you're on the job site, you're in an RV, or you just don't have a ton of time, much less to sit down on a laptop and be working on your resume and so on. So again, we want to be there to make that much easier for you as an
And we are not used to be taken care of, so it's refreshing to be taken care of.
Well, that's good to hear. I'm glad we can
uh,
make you feel better.
um, so yeah, I wanted to let the viewers know, whoever's listening to this video, if you are not from US or Canada, do not upload your profile yet, but stay posted. We will let you know. Chris,
Yeah,
you will let us know when your platform is open globally or any other country. So right now, only US and Canada, please. Do not
yeah,
bother
and I
Chris
would,
if you're
yeah,
not
I
from
would
US or
know.
Canada.
It's okay. No, I would say this though. I am also interested in the level of interest that's out there, right, from those that are outside of the U.S. and Canada. And I'm sure somewhere, in terms of on the YouTube page where this video plays, we'll give you an email address. And if you're watching this video and you're in the UK or in the Middle East or wherever you are and you're interested in what we're doing, I'd love to hear from you. So there'll be an email. You can contact us because I'd love to get that feedback as well while we're focused on US and Canada, because it'll inform sort of how fast we move in terms of moving into those markets. So don't be shy in letting us know you're interested in Surehand if you're not in those regions.
Perfect. So I'll put that email. If you can send me that email, I'll put it in
Yep.
the description of the video. And yeah, then you guys can show the interest. Um, yeah, I guess, is there anything else we should know about this platform that we didn't talk about?
Well, I mean, I could just share with you, we launched our beta application first week of February, and we've already got north of 1,300 inspector profiles across US and Canada. Pretty good coverage across all the states and provinces in those two countries. We have already have 4 companies that have subscribed to the platform that are actively searching for talent. So we're already making connections within Surehand in not that far from our go live, which is great news. And again, we're just super excited with the reception that we've had from industry. I think everyone sees the pain points and the challenges. And I think, looking at it a little bit differently and focusing on changing the way all this works can benefit all involved. So we're really eager to, continue on this journey and, see how things go. We're very excited.
Awesome, awesome. And if my employer is watching this video, the profile that I created was only for trial. I'm not looking for any new jobs. Shh.
Again, this is why we have the anonymity and privacy features.
Right.
It's all good. Yeah.
Awesome, Chris. I appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing this information. I love when people take efforts to make this industry simpler and help people find jobs in an easier way. I've been through the painful moment of finding my first job and just like being in that waiting period when you don't hear back from companies. It's just super frustrating. I really hope this simplifies the job finding process for job seekers and the companies at the same time. So I
Yeah.
appreciate this effort and appreciate your time, and we'll stay in touch. I'm looking forward to hear new innovations happening in this industry from you.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Pratik. And I appreciate again the opportunity to talk with you today and look forward to the feedback we get from the video. The one closing thought I'll leave you with is, we're very much focused on, our North Star, as it were, is, we take a look at non-destructive testing or industrial inspection and all the openings and opportunities that exist. And on the other side of the coin, you have a lot of folks that could enter that industry and do a great job and build a great career. And so if we do this really well, we have a real good shot of having an impact on or underemployment in these industries, right? There are able-bodied people that are hungry for work or willing to work. And I think our connecting with the training providers and the trade schools and the employers, I mean, that's really our mission if we do this well. And so again, I appreciate your support, and yeah, we're looking forward to great days ahead.
Amazing. You're welcome. All right. I'll stay in touch with you then. Talk to you
Okay,
soon.
sounds good. Cheers.
Okay. Bye.